So in this video, I'll talk about the things that are stopping you from investing. So these are from my personal experience. So I'll be sharing it more from a personal experience. Like these were the three things that were stopping me from investing. The first one was the fear around stock investing or investing in stocks. Because for many years when I was a kid, I was conditioned by my parents and my aunts and uncles saying that stock market is gambling, you could lose it all, and these are all narratives that get pushed into us. And only when we challenge these narratives and challenge these assumptions and all the things, that social conditioning that we have been used to, that we need to first of all recognize that we have been conditioned in this way, and only then we have to take steps to overcome these fears. Now there is fear in everything, like you could be hit by a car, or you could die just by stepping out of the house, but we don't, right? We have to venture out to, if you want to travel and experience new places and all that things. There is risk. What I'm trying to get at is there is risk associated with everything that we do, and there are also risks with investing, but we can manage those risks and we can manage those fears that are associated with stock investing. First of all, we need to recognize what all fears we have, and then we have to check if it's actually true, and check how can we manage those risks, how can we manage those fears. So that's the first thing that I had to overcome. And how did I overcome is also it's a story, because I had a university friend, and he said, like, we were doing like we were studying for an exam, and then he casually mentioned that one of his uncles is going on a world tour. And then I was curious, like, how could people have so much money to go on a world tour? And then he told me that his uncle had invested in one of the companies, and which had IPO'd, like it's an initial public offering, and then all they were funding their world travel by just using the profits from this one public. So then I realized, okay, like, you could make money from stock market. Then I went on and researched, like, how are rich people investing. And what I found out was, most of the, like, if you look at all the richest people, they have majority of their exposure uh, to assets like stocks or company stocks. Most of their wealth is in stocks. This is mainly because we live in a capitalist world, and the growing trend is that the corporate profits are going exponentially. I'll share a separate video on that. Whereas the wages are going backwards. So just by being employed or just by being working full time, we can never get rich. And that's one of the first realizations that I had. The second thing is the knowledge. We need to acquire certain knowledge, and I don't mean like, so I went on to learn about technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and then I realized that I don't have enough. I can't do fundamental analysis for all. There are like thousands of companies, and I can't do that because I was having a full-time job. So what did I do was, I looked for systematic way of investing. So that is what saves me time. Like, I'll come to that in what I'm trying to get at is, you don't need to have a lot of knowledge to get started in investing, or like even have investing in index funds or anything. Like, you don't need to have a lot of knowledge, but you need to have some level of knowledge, some foundational knowledge to get you started. So once used a systematic approach, once I started investing, and initially I was like using charts and fundamental analysis for investing, and then I quickly ran into a third problem. The third problem was the time. Now when I was single, I had a lot of time, because though I was working full time, I had a lot of time in the evening, so I could do a lot of charts, and I could do a lot of fundamental analysis. I did a fundamental analysis course, but I quickly realized that when that this I can't, it's not a really scalable time. That I ran into a time problem, because time is really it's a constraint for most of us, especially if you're in a family, if you have kids and all that, you will not find time. So time is a um, it's a constraint for most of us. So that is a third problem that I ran into, and that's why I switched from all these fundamental analysis and all this to a more systematic approach based on rules, that I could invest or be a participant in the stock market just by using simple rules that are predefined. So this is what I wanted to share in today's video. I'll do make a separate video about these three things in much more detail, but I just wanted to share the three things that were stopping me. And this, like, you could also relate to this, like, what is really, you could think, reflect and think, what is really stopping you. Is it the fear, or is it the lack of knowledge, or is it the lack of time, or a combination of all these three? And then work towards addressing these problems, so that you can invest and be a participant in this stock market.